Hey, yo, what is going on, guys? Got a brand new deck guide for you guys today. We're going to be going over a Werewolf by Night Darkhawk deck using Terrax and no Rock Slide. KM featured this recently on one of his most recent OTA videos, and last night we had an absolute blast with lots of success. Very high cube rate, which I'll show the stats on screen here. And yeah, it felt great. I honestly was wanting to play some like Darkhawk, like Terrax stuff since he got buffed in the OTA. And this list right here has lots of different like flexibility and different play lines if you don't even get the Darkhawk line. And it just felt incredible. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this is going to be the deck on screen here. Of course, it's going to be down in the description as always as well. There's a variety of different plays here, whether it is just pouring straight into your Darkhawk line and also having, you have Korg and you have Terrax in order to do that. But you are running the Hood, which is kind of, in a sense, counterintuitive to Terrax. But you kind of play it out in such a way where if you do have the Hood, you have your Misery kind of in hand before you're playing Terrax. Terrax isn't necessarily what you're going to be doing on turn 3 every single time. You have to kind of like manage what the board is looking like. You also have a variety of different on reveals to be able to help your Werewolf, whether it is spells from Merlin, whether it is even arrows from Kate Bishop, even, Misery making stuff go off again, so you have extra power. Something that my boy Dead Guy brought up also in Discord the other day is like with Misery into like a Korg in a Terrax lane, yes, you are losing the 6 power, but you're kind of gaining 3 power with Misery in some sense. So like in some instances, destroying some of these cards with Misery, if it's even not the Hood to get like a net gain, you still can potentially gain more power and be able to get better interaction for your Werewolf to continue to move, so you're not clogging yourself out of too many different situations. You also have some top end finishers with Juggernaut. If you just need a tech card, especially with priority, Juggernaut is really powerful and I still think is one of the best kind of just game finishing cards in the game right now. You also do have Red Guardian to be able to offset some of the tech your opponents are running, but I think this is kind of like a flex spot. If you're running into a lot of that Invisible Woman style deck, you can put like Ghost in here instead, because Ghost isn't on reveal since it does remove all the text of the end of turn cards in that lane. So you can use that instead of a Guardian. This is just going to be kind of matchup specific or your pocket meta specific if you're going to be running Red Guardian or not. Cassandra Nova, you're putting rocks in your opponent's deck to give you extra Cassandra Nova value. So she can get absolutely massive after like a Korg, Terrax kind of situation. You could play her out on 3, but there's a lot of instances where you're not necessarily doing that unless you maybe have the Terrax line and you have other ways to add power. That's kind of just where it gets interesting here. You're almost never playing Juggernaut on 3. Werewolf is one of your main 3 lines. Terrax is up there. Probably it's like Werewolf, Terrax, and then probably cast in like that order when it comes to turn 3. Turn 4 is either like a core Cassandra Nova or even like a Cassandra Nova Hood, so you can set up a Misery, or if you already have Hood on the board, you're playing your Misery onto your Hood to give yourself another demon. There's not a lot of instances where you're tempoing out your demon early too. You're kind of saving that for later on. Or if you are trying to get Terrax value, you do play that demon out a little bit earlier so you can be winning another lane to be able to get that Terrax value and be able to have priority to be able to get like that Terrax value. Because Terrax is also one of those cards that's better with priority, because if you're setting up and you're going to be trying to win lanes to be able to get Terrax's ability go off, which if you didn't know is on reveal for each location that, you shuffle a rock into a person's deck if they're losing that location. So you're going to want to be winning as many locations as possible. If you're tied in a location, the rock does not get shuffled into the deck. But of course, that benefits Darkhawk, and 3 rocks instead of 2 rocks is Rock Slide, and Rock Slide being a 4 cost is why we're getting some value with Terrax here. Some instances, shuffling a rock back into your deck can't be that great. Maybe into the mirror, but if you have like a lot of your your main combo pieces already in hand, it's not the worst case scenario to add a rock to your deck because you have kind of what you've drawn already. We're also running Shadow King as one of the main tech cards in here to be able to offset what your opponent's doing. There's a lot of cards that are getting like permanent power that can be reduced, opposed to like it goes through Luke Cage opposed to like ongoing power. That's why Shadow King works on like permanent power. Like Sebastian Shaw gaining power permanently is like the concept there. Shadow King resets him. You'll see actually an instance where we use Shadow King in a Merlin spell and we kind of like flip the game on a Destroy Gamer at the very very final turn, which is kind of crazy. Which may have even seen the clip on either here YouTube or on TikTok. But this card is feeling really, really good. I'm really enjoying this style of play too. So shout out to KM for posting this list on his YouTube. Which if you guys know who made the list, let me know. down below in the comment section, and if you guys are rocking with Darkhawk right now. I'm running into a lot more Airshim and Thanos and stuff, so I'm really liking Darkhawk into those matchups. But let's go ahead and break down why we have each card in this list individually. All right, so starting off first and foremost, we do have the Hood in this list. This is an on-reveal card that benefits our Werewolf. We also have Misery in order to get this off the board, and we do have Merlin's Once in Future and Polymorph as, you know, spells that can also remove this, so we can actually not have the -3 power on the board. It is just a really good card for that reason specifically too, giving us a bunch of different interactions and, you know, give us a Werewolf procs. We're playing Darkhawk. We got Korg in this list to put rocks into our opponent's deck. Also helps benefit your Cassandra Nova to get Cassandra Nova to more power. It's also a 2-powered card, so if you do need a Polymorph or Once in Future it's a good, easy target to be able to do that with Merlin. Shadow King, reset cards, you know, back to their original power. Use this especially in like instances where your opponents are getting pretty greedy and stuff. Help you kind of like fight against priority, and it's also, or fight against priority in the sense like you don't have priority going into turn 6. You use this to kind of like offset what they're doing. And then also it's an on reveal for Werewolf. We have Kate Bishop in here. Kate Bishop, 3 out of 4 of her arrows are on reveals. The only one that's not is going to be her Pim arrow. Of course, you know, the acid arrow going to your opponent's side of the board is an on reveal that goes off on your side of the board first, which enables Werewolf to be able to go over to the other side. Also, if your acid arrow does not go off, your opponent fills the board, you have Once in Future as an option to be able to get that acid arrow out. So you're not necessarily clogged or offset in your own location. Sometimes I am setting up the acid arrow and Once in Future in the same lane in case my opponent does fill. That way I don't clog myself with that -2 power as well. Then of course Merlin, you know, has 3 different spells, you know, Omniversal Presence to be able to change location and also give Merlin 2 power. Once in Future targets the lowest powered card in that location, shuffles it back into your deck, and gives you +2 energy the next turn. And then Polymorph also transforms your lowest powered card here into something of a greater cost, which is also really impactful in a lot of instances too, especially if you do have some of these lower powered cards and you need ways to either get Werewolf across the board or just add more power to locations. Then, of course, like I said, Cassandra Nova, you're playing Darkhawk, you're adding rocks and more cards to your opponent's decks, so Cassandra Nova gets the value there as another just power card to be able to get value. It also is really good into Airshim. I'm seeing more Airshim, actually, recently, so I'm, like, snapping pretty much into Airshim if I have Cassandra Nova or Darkhawk in hand, because I pretty much just have WinCon right there. And then, of course, you have Red Guardian as one of those tech cards that targets the lowest powered card in this lane and also afflicts it with -2 power. It's really good, especially some of these decks that are playing one card into a single location and you have priority, being able to just knock that out. There's a lot of instances that's a snap condition for you, too, especially with Prio, because you know they're using that card to set up some combo pieces. But this isn't necessarily the set 12th card in this list. If you are running into like a lot of the Invis stuff, you could make this something like a Ghost, or if you're running into a lot of 1-cost cards, you could play it around having your own demons and make this like a Killmonger. It's just like that 3-cost kind of tech slot. I think that works really well in this, and it's also an on reveal for Werewolf. Juggernaut is an end-all be-all kind of card. You can use this just to win locations or just win the game pretty much, especially with priority. It kind of offsets the combos your opponents may be trying to do by leaving certain locations full, or, you know, leaving certain locations empty to be able to add cards to those areas. Juggernaut kind of is just one of those really good cards, especially with priority. Werewolf, you're playing a lot of on reveals. It's another just power scaler. If you don't have the Darkhawk, you have the Werewolf to be able to scale vertically, and your opponent does have to kind of guess where is this card going to end up, because you're going to be bouncing around this card like crazy. You have so many different opportunities to bounce this card around, so you have Werewolf in case you don't have the Darkhawk, or you play it with Darkhawk simultaneously, so they have to worry about at least 2 different power cards. And then, of course, like I said, you have Terex in this list. You have a lot of different ways to be able to have priority and also to be able to be winning locations with some of these power cards. So Terex gets value, giving you potentially 3 additional rocks into your opponent's deck. It's also a pretty good misery target if you're also with priority winning a bunch of those locations too, to be able to get even more power onto your Darkhawk and be able to offset your opponent's shuffling, which is also, or you shuffle your opponent's cards, not offset what your opponent is shuffling. As my cat is just messing with the mic here. But yeah, you're using this to kind of just, it's another good Darkhawk enabler. Rock Slide is just punching air right now because it's a 4-cost. And then, of course, you do have Misery. Misery, you know, makes those on reveals go off again, and is an on reveal herself to be able to bounce your Werewolf around and to be able to, you know, clear the Hood from your side of the board too. And then you have Darkhawk. So, you know, rocks equals big power for Darkhawk, and just your opponent having more cards in their deck is big power from Darkhawk. We're going to go ahead and jump right into some gameplay from stream. which it was absolutely fun. As you guys saw in the beginning of the video, we had a really good climb yesterday. And I'll say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the end of the video. Thank you guys once again so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you guys did stick around to the very end, let me know down below. Do you think we are kind of moving towards more of a Darkhawk meta, or is Darkhawk just going to be okay? And you're going to see just Darkhawk more often opposed to a Darkhawk meta. Indignious Rock over here. All right, so what we get? Oof. Not great. Not great. Yeah, Mastery is so good. Huge fan of all of the Mastery stuff. It was so worth it. So worth it. OG, what have you been playing recently? Nico Draw 2? I can't play anything still. We have to wait for Merlin. Dazzler? Huh. Interesting. Interesting. You think Ronin and Darkhawk, both of them, you think need adjustments? What would you do to him? Victoria Hand. Oh, we might just get cooked here, huh? We might just get cooked. Reduce their cost to 4. That would be interesting. Frigga. Ouch. Into Hood. Wait, do I get Prio here? If I get Prio, this could be interesting. This is interesting. Very interesting. That is true. He was forward with cooled magma. Very true. Very true. We're snapping into making it so this is -5, and they don't really have a good way to get rid of it because, well, they can't even misery it here. They can't even misery it here. What if I do this, that instead? This is interesting. I think it's this, that. Just make it so they really have to overcome quite a bit into the middle is my thought process here. We get once in future. So big werewolf here. Into polymorph, which is Grandmaster, which is another polymorph, which gives me the thing. Interesting. Prodigy. On the Yap this next week. Oh my gosh, they actually cooked here. They have 2 demons. They're about to go burr. They're about to go burr. This is unfortunate. There is a world. There is a world where it is this. And... or it is this. Oh, wait, no, it's this into that. That's the thought process. They have 7 cards. They have 7 energy. They have a bunch of different spots. Could also do this, that, this. I think that's actually safer. Victoria Hand, Demon, Quinjet. And then Misery. Misery goes middle, I know. But werewolf goes right. No, werewolf goes middle. Oh, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, never mind. Okay. That was bad. That was bad. I won't lie. That was bad. We have hood into misery, which is interesting. I'm gonna go hood middle. Bro, the pain and suffering. When you were telling me about that earlier, I was like, what? Wait, actually, they're playing freaking Agamotto, huh? Not Agamotto. They're playing Arishem. With them playing Arishem, Ghost not needed. Do you not think Ghost needed? I mean, Ghost needed to be better for sure. I snap into this because we're facing Arishem, and Sandbar just happened. Arishem with Sandbar. Red Guardian, that's fine. To Loki. Yeah, we have Gorgon at home. We have Gorgon at home, baby. We'll do that. They do have Shadow King. They do have a Shadow King. But this is also really good for us here. I go... Can go Misery. Can go Misery Terex, right? Yeah. They do have bolts. Misery. And to Terex. So more rocks. And then I go here. Here. It's my thought process. Is that Jug right or what? Jug left. Into Winds. Cool. And Agamotto. That will work. Playing the Misery to have the extra power right was really smart there. Really strong. Kind of also gave us priority and kind of like potentially offset what they were trying to do. As you torn, bro. So another just bad location for us. Be in Hellfire Club actually quite a bit, I would say. Quite a bit of Hellfire going on, bro. Oy. Bro, Borderlands 3 was a letdown from Borderlands 2. 100%. 100%. We'll do this. Vibranium. Never been a big Borderlands guy. Ooh. Interesting. Never punished. Never punished. Is this just cast left? No, it is Werewolf middle, actually. Redshift hits Agatha. Man, this is where we were hoping for some Stardust things. This is where we would. You think Siren's the default best classic in Avocado? I don't know. The Sword Slinger looks freaking awesome. Looks freaking awesome, man. I'm very excited for him. Very, very excited for the sword guy. We also don't have a way to get Hood off the board. This could be kind of an issue. Could kind of be an issue. Yeah, the skill trees, having 4 skill trees was also interesting. Corvus, Jubilee, and Blink. Yeah. Yeah. Bro, I hope they add new characters. Like, new Vault Hunters for DLC would be so good. Oh, we actually got what we needed here. Okay. Okay. We have a little something going on here. Maybe actually I was supposed to play Corrigan to Cass. But I didn't know I was going to top deck Misery, to be fair. To be fair, I didn't know Misery was the top deck. It was a 1 out of 3. Oh, 1 out of 3. Yo, Krieg was freaking awesome, too. This could bring back Ghost Rider or any of the, like, 5 costs, potentially, too, if this is hella Giganto. Okay. So, thought process-wise, right? Thought process. I go fully here. I think this is the vibe. I know Gambit's coming down. That's hella left. Actually, no, Blink doesn't happen now. Blink can't, because they can't blink out the Giganto. Hella is Agatha, Jubilee, Blink. Perfect. Perfect. A feast. This will be interesting. It really depends on what we draw here, I think. Squirrels. Okay, we go Merlin now. With it being squirrels everywhere, it's going to be a Merlin angle. Surge. Okay. Sakar. I go... I go once in future into Kate. Yes. Yes. Has both the Zane kit and the Beastmaster kit? That's actually gross. They Merlin... Wow, Merlin on Surge is crazy. Sentry on the Void. Okay. If I go Hood, Paul, if I go Hood, Basic, Polly, this is gross. Cast Grapple. Actually, hold on. No grapple. You think cast mid? Okay, so it's this, that. It's Hood. That way I'm not locked middle is my idea too. That's a good shout. That is a good shout. Ooh, yo, Joaquin though? Joaquin kind of goes crazy. Joaquin kind of goes crazy here. Ooh, they lose Surge. They lose the Surge. If I do this into that. And I snap. Is this the snap? I don't know. This is kind of crazy. I think it's this into that. Oh my gosh, that's actually huge! Huge for your boy. Cannonball, Darkhawk goes middle, okay. They surge. Omniversal. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Because it could just be this, that. Or it's that, that. Oh boy, I think I hit cheat middle. I mean, they just used cannonball, so they can't cannonball again. Is it this, that? I think it's demon for more power. Wait! 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 Bro, I'm amazed though. Oh, run button! Run button! We did it again! We did it again! That was close. That was very close. They're playing Nakamura! Nakamura, they're playing, Arishem. Good old Arishem. Good old Arishem. Yeah, Frankie is 300 tokens. 300 tokens. It's pretty sick. They Loki. Loki on turn 2. They don't have... They might have Thanos. Maybe they don't. It does tell you a lot, yeah? All right. Let's see. They cast. Is this cast Korg? Cast. Wow. Acid arrow doesn't go anywhere. I get basic. I do get reality stone to turn that into danger room. I mean, I can just win with Darkhawk middle. Vacate. Ghost. Ghost into the Darkhawk middle. They basic. They Darkhawk me. I beat Shadow King. I beat Darkhawk. I beat Chi. Darkhawk is 19. Is there a world where I don't play Terrax? If I don't play Terrax, I don't have... Because if I do this into that... Darkhawk gets an additional rock, and they go to 7. Their Darkhawk gets... Because I'm at 19, their Darkhawk would be 17. Yeah. We just don't play Terrax at all. All the power needing. Yeah, they snapped me middle because they saw my acid arrow get clogged, and I was like, okay. Let's do it. Let's run it. Camelot, sweet. Love that for us. That does make things a little interesting here. Kid Omega. Oh, yeah, this is the destroy freaking X23 things, right? Bucky. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. We might be cooking. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Like, the thing is, I don't have the Darkhawk value. I do have Werewolf. They could get free Deadpool and things, which is unfortunate for me. Nico Deathlock. Oh, it's Dormammu. So they're going to end up summoning middle. Forge. So if I can take Prio here, I can do this. This. That. Or that. Do this, that. That. Nimrod. Okay. We might be cooked here. I had 2 rocks to my deck. Kiln? Oh my gosh, wait. Wait. So Nimrod ends up middle. I do this. I think if I snap back, they leave, right? Is this enough power, right? Oh, that was clean with it. That was clean with it. Oh my gosh. I don't think necessarily we're going to be moving towards a Darkhawk meta, but I do think we're going to see this card a lot more this season, and we're going to see more of these like tech cards kind of spring up. We'll see what happens after High Voltage with Airwalker and Fire Lord and everything like that, and the Fallen One. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some just crazy combo stuff going on, and maybe it's not Darkhawk, or you're using Darkhawk to offset these combo kind of things. But I want to say, yeah, once again, if you guys are not subscribed, definitely feel free to subscribe, like, and comment on the video. It is absolutely free to do so. We're almost close to 4,000 subscribers here on YouTube. That would be absolutely amazing if we hit that this season. But yeah, I want to say, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. It's surreal. God bless, and Tucker out.